Okay. Good day again. Good everything to where you located in the world and where are you seeing this streaming. Uh, After a long, very long streaming this morning, have you been in the this morning of streaming, Prayag?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it was a long one. I didn't expect it was too
Yeah.
long, 2 hours. Uh, we are going to with your contribution. Thank you very much for explaining your experience of last year with the smart city dashboard application. That was a very nice interface also, and this is the reason why you are gonna dissect is for us today,
Yeah.
because it has also very nice Flutter widgets and so on. So thank you for coming, and thank you for the people that will be seeing this live. At this moment we only have Manas and some others that are not saying anything in the chat, but some other people will come and see this later in
Yeah.
YouTube. So thank you very much, and let's go for the presentation. You can start your presentation now.
Okay. So basically, I am Prayag Biswas. Last time I was the contributor for Liquid Galaxy, and I worked on a smart city dashboard. So smart cities dashboard is basically a visualizer of all the data available of open smart cities and also render it to the Liquid Galaxy also. So about today, I am going to present how to use Android Studio, the Smart City dashboard code explanation, and my personal tips and suggestions. So the first part, that how to use Android Studio, because before diving to the Smart City dashboard, we first need to learn how to use Android Studio. Why Android Studio? Because uh, many of us may use Visual Studio Code for Flutter, but from my personal experience, Android Studio is much better because it offers lot more tools and things that make the Flutter development much easier. So just a few minutes for the things that Android Studio has that may help us in the future to dissect the code much better, and it will be much better for your journey through the GSoC if you get selected, and even if you don't get selected, it will be much helpful to your life, that how to use the Android Studio. So starting with breakpoints, what are breakpoints? Most of us, like all of us, have used at some point of our life that there is a variable a, and after some time we print the variable a, like print a, print b, and print variable c, all those things after 2 or 3 lines to check how the code flow is working. But that's not the right case to use always. So Android Studio presents us with a feature of breakpoint. You don't have to write print 1,000 times to check the code flow. Another thing is that inspector. Uh, those who are with familiar with development, you know that with the Chrome or any web renderer, you can just inspect element and check out the code where it is like that widget is located. For example, in a HTTP page, you have a text in the middle. You can just inspect that element and check its properties, modify its properties, etc. Android Studio also allows us to do the same for Flutter. Also, there are many shortcuts available that will increase our productivity. These are like only 4 or 5 shortcuts that will change the speed of your workflow. So let's start with the breakpoints and debugging tools. I'll show you a live demo of how to use those things. So this is first when you open the Android Studio. Let's make a new project, the Flutter SDK path where you have downloaded the Flutter. Next, all those platforms that we can run our code natively with Flutter. So I'll just go with any name for now. This is the default Flutter project, that counter app. So now our Flutter project is being created. So this is the first thing that you will see when you create a project in Flutter. by default this will be Android. Change this to uh, project so that you can see all those Flutter files, not only this Android folder. Now we need an emulator to run our code. So you can add an emulator here. I guess like these are the things that most of us are familiar with, but I am just going through this. So a few people who have doubts with Android Studio that it looks very complicated when you first time open it. Yeah, I also felt that same thing when I opened the Studio for the first time. I was like, oh, what is going on? Like, what is on the left side? What is on the left side? Like, everything was going above my head. So to make you guys comfortable with the Android Studio, I am going through all this again. So left side is this project part. This is the project structure, and also this is the latest Android Studio. So if you have Android Studio some 6 months or 1 year ago, it will look much different than this. So make sure that you have the updated version of Android Studio. So left side is the project structure, and below it we have logcat, terminal, all those things. So we'll be coming to this later. And with these tools, you can like a Flutter inspector, outline, and all those things are hidden under these three dots. Right side, we can change the panel. So, and this is the file we have selected. By default, it will be on the top. It's just like my customized thing that I have put it on the right. So let's run an emulator. We can set up an emulator from here, like create virtual device, and you can go all through these settings. I guess most of you have already done it, so it's very common. And now we have done it. The default Flutter app. And now instead of this play button that many of us may do, click on the debug button when developing in Flutter. Because with this developer tool, we can have the access to breakpoints and all the things that I am going to mention. Just remove all this boilerplate code. So it's much easier to understand. Just give it 2 minutes and it will be rendered. It takes a little bit more time for the first time build. Yeah, so we can see our Flutter app here. And now, if we just like click on this button, it's like increasing the variable. Normally, if we wanted to see the value of this variable for like larger database, like larger code base, like we have hundreds of variable, like 50 to hundreds of variable, we may not know like how the code flow is working. So the natural instinct is to like print this counter variable and like print something above it. Like this is the most basic way to debug. This is like counter underscore. So yeah, now if we print, we can see like our counter variable is here. But like our code flow is not stopping, right? Like it is going. Like if I click on this button, it is going. So sometimes we may need to like stop the code and go through line by line. That what this line number 21 is doing. What happens if we go to the line number 22? we don't want to remove this stuff again and commenting those things to check how the things are working. There is a easier way. Just on that on this line number on this console, click on it and this color will appear. This is called breakpoint. So what will happen now? If I click on this button, see our code stopped and it didn't become 6 from 5. Our code has been stopped and this color shows that the code flow is on this line. So and here there is a interesting thing. You can hover on this variable and you can see the current value of that variable. And if you have any other variable before this line, you can check every value of that variable here. And apart from this, you can see all the details that has this, all the things that related to Flutter framework. See all the details. Like you may not require this now for small things, but later when you work on a bigger project, this will be very much helpful to you. And the code is stopped now. How to resume? There are various things buttons available here. I'm gonna explain all this. These are basically monitoring the app, like stopping and rerunning the app. These three things, like 1, 2, 3, and 4 buttons, are the most important thing while debugging it. So this button will resume the program, like it will pass the program from this code, like it will just resume the program, but it will again stop in the next breakpoint. So if we just resume the program, see it stopped in the next breakpoint, but our variable is still not 6. We can resume this again and see our variable is 6. So that's how breakpoint works, and you can monitor all the breakpoints. Like if you have breakpoint here in a different file, these are the Flutter code files, but it may be a different file in your code base, and you don't have to remember like the framework file like 139, like sorry 11,039. I used left a breakpoint there. So all these are summarized here. You can see where your breakpoints are, and you can just like manually allow it or disable it. And these are all dart exception breakpoints where your code throws an error. It will automatically like take the code and let you know where your code got the error. So disable it is for now only. After that, your code will like run without any interruption. And you can also mute the breakpoints. Like if you have some breakpoints, you can just manually mute it so that you don't have to remove or enable it again. So this is about the breakpoint. Now coming to Flutter Inspector, I want to know where the code of this like number 7 coming from and where the text lies. Like suppose I have 1,000 lines of code and a huge code base. How to know that where this number 7 lies? There is a tool, Flutter Inspector. You can just click on this more tool options, click on Flutter Inspector and see like all this widget details tree. You can like check it from here. Let me minimize this a little. You can enabling the highlight from here, and you can see like from all this widget tree, you can select where like you can select a widget from the widget tree, and it will show where the widget is located. Also, you can tap here. Like I want to know where this button is. I can tap on the button, and it will take me to the code I am in the icons.add, as well as it will show all the details like layout of the widgets and all those things. And some of the elements you can change also, like in the module you can change the width and height, but it's for like rows and columns and sometimes. So this will help a lot when you have like lots of widget in the widget tree and you are confused like where, like I have to find thousands of like 500 files to like where this widget is. No, like you can just click on this widget visible on your screen and it will take you automatically take you there. About the shortcuts, these are like few shortcuts. You can control D to duplicate the line, like control shift, it will take the line from out to down like this. Control Z, I just take control Z in the thing. Shift is for file search and control shift F is for uh, keyword search in all the files. So if you want to search the file build.gradle, I can get the file from here. So it's like it's much easier to search for the, like you have settings page, you have home page, splash page. Just type on here and you can just navigate to that. Like you don't have to click manually to like Android app build grader. No, like you can just double shift and it will take you there. And control shift F for things in the file. I want to know where my scaffold is. So yeah, only one scaffold in the main dart. I want to know where the keyword child is. That will be show more. Yeah. Can make it a word like so. It's control shift F for finding in files and double shift for find the files. So yeah, this was all about a little demo of how to use Android Studio. So don't use thousands of print statement in your code. So many of you may have faced the issue of connecting your app with Liquid Galaxy. So while connected, I saw like many of you writing like print, how printing the SSH client, printing the password and all those things. No, don't do that. Just give it a breakpoint, and you will automatically know when the code flow comes to that point, comes to that line of execution, and you will automatically get the variable, like the values of the variable when your code is on that line. So that will help in the debugging much more better. So now jumping to the smart city dashboard, actual smart city dashboard dissection. As I said, it's basically a collection of the data of all the open, like not all, it's like many open smart cities, and visualize it with beautiful charts and graphs, as well as render the KML in the Liquid Galaxy and show the charts also in the Liquid Galaxy. Uh, the first, like, just let me tell my personal experience when I was like working on this project. So when I first started like writing, I got this topic, like I got this project idea of smart city dashboard. I was like confused, like from where to fetch the data. Like data is the most important part here. Uh, if I break the project into three parts, the first part will be collecting the data. Second part will be the actual Flutter app, and the third part will be integration with the Liquid Galaxy. So integration with the Liquid Galaxy was also a challenging task, but like I had a little idea like how to render that, how to show the balloons, how to render that camel. I had a little idea in my mind while doing the project, but the first part, that is collecting the data part, was the most challenging part to me. And as you can see, if I don't, like if I can start with a good data source, I cannot proceed. Like the whole project is left if I don't get the uh, good and reliable data source. So at first I scrambled all those like open city sites like where to find those data. And I scrambled all those things, and there was no particular API or unified website from where I get all the data. Like suppose I want to get the data of New York, I want to get the data of Austin. There are no way from a single data site that I get all the data, and it was a challenging task. Like I don't have a unified website to collect the data from. So what to do? Collect most of the data out of individual sites and combine it. That was the solution that I arrived. So uh, let me go to the next slide. So when I before collecting the data, I had to keep in mind that how to render the data. I had a like rough estimation of what kind of data I would get. That would be like CSV file, XML file, and uh, all those charts, those data file. For example, I have to monitor the power consumption of a city. So it would be like two columns with date and total power consumption. Uh, the first will be date, second will be the total amount of power consumption. So how can I visualize the data? It can be a line chart, yes. So and there are some other type of data. For example, uh, in the in the flora compound of a city, there are like 10% squirrel, 5% ants, and all the animal categories. I cannot map it to a line chart. So I need a different kind of chart, that was pie chart. So there are a few kinds of chart that I had in my mind which I can render with the available data. So I had to make a wireframe of the app before writing, like while writing the proposal, because your app is the most important part to the user. The user won't know, like it's abstracted to the user that from where you are collecting the data. The user won't think much about it. Like you have worked hard on the data collection part. No, that it's not visible to the user. What's visible to the user is your app, like the seamless integration of your app with the data part as well as with the liquid galaxy part. That is the part that is visible to the user, not how you are doing it. So your app, like your visual experience, your user experience, and the bug free experience is the most important thing. So wireframe is one of the most important part of any project. Like there are like many of you will be working on different kinds of project like AI, Flutter based, and all are Flutter based only, but AI more backend part. But wireframe is important. Like the design part is very important. Like it leaves effect on the user experience. The user is satisfied. Like if the UI is good, the user will automatically like will get invested to your app. So this is very much important. So while writing the proposal, this is the UI that I have made. Also, like this is the UI I have designed in the Figma. It's not the actual UI. So while doing the code, I improved the UI lot. So this is square. I wanted to make it a little bit curved, so it's more pleasing to the user. So I optimized this much more way. And that time I didn't like there were few things about the project that was still unclear to me. Like for example, I have written sensors, but in the actual project there are no sensors. So in the few of the sites I also got the information of the sensors of the city from where it is picking up the data, the temperature of the whole city from the individual sensors. I got the information for some cities, but it was not generalized. For example, if New York have all the 10 sensors that implanted in the cities that showed the temperature, Austin didn't have that information. So I had to generalize the data and have to omit and add some things later on. But this UI was a rough estimation of what I was going to do in the actual project. So this was the UI, and this was the Liquid Galaxy part that probably I was going to show. This part, the leftmost Liquid Galaxy rig have to show you the logo along with all the other supported companies, GSoC and Liquid Galaxy. All this logo must be on the left hand side of the Liquid Galaxy, and the right hand side of the Liquid Galaxy must show the things that you are showing on the app as well. So suppose I have a chart about the weather, you must show the chart on the Liquid Galaxy as well. I am having a tour. The locations I am going in, you have to show the information about the location as well. Uh, I have to, like go to the New York. You have to show a balloon that is that have the data of the New York as well. So the rightmost part is for balloons and the leftmost part is for the logo. So that's how I designed the wireframe. The next most important part, as I said, work on the data collection. It was like 40% of the whole project. At how to collect the data and I needed a reliable source. I already explained that. Coded the UI. I have made the fancy UI, but now I need to code it, right? So the first thing that was important about this UI was this left dynamic left panel. So when in the home page, it will show like this, and if I select a city, it will go to that cities, and the dynamic and the left part will change dynamically according to the city we are in. So it was the first challenging part that I had to code into the program. I made the UI, like I made the fancy UI, but I had to code it too. So it was a challenging part, and so all these charts are beautiful, but I needed to code it actually, like all these percentage bars and all those things. And it was actually fun to code it. Like when you code the UI you have thought in your mind, and it is actually showing on your app, the satisfaction you will feel. It's like beyond anything. And the fourth part was integration with Liquid Galaxy. So I have made the app. I have worked on the data source. Now I had to show all those data on Liquid Galaxy also. So that was part was very important. Seamless connection with the Liquid Galaxy, so that the user doesn't have to like run the connection, like connect, tap on the connect button again and again, like 10 times if it is disconnected again and again to connect it again. It should be automatic. Like when you open the app, it should automatically connect to the Liquid Galaxy if our app was already connected before. If I already inputted the host ID, like host IP address, password, and all those things, the app should remember that settings. Like yeah, it was previously connected to that Liquid Galaxy, and it's not like our Liquid Galaxy is changing so frequently with time. So the automatic instinct is that to connect to the same Liquid Galaxy you connected the last time. So it should connect automatically when you open the app. That way the user doesn't need to like just make the user much more hassle free to use the app. The last part was bug fix and improvement. After that I had to like face many bugs, like when I used to open the SFTP protocol for file transfer, it used to say that it's not like SFTP error and all those few errors that you will also face, and you will also have to tackle all these problems. So there are few problems, like it won't happen always. Like out of 10 times you are using the app, there will be a probability of 10% that this error will occur. But you should consider that 10% probability also to make the user experience more smooth and like seamless. So going to the architecture of the app, uh, basically the first part will be to collect the data, and the HTTP response or the CSV file format I have received from the source, I need to like convert it to Dart models so that I can actually use that instance of that class and access the data easily. It's not like I'll read that CSV file thousand times for like rendering a simple chart. No, just convert, like parse that data in a format that our code knows that it will map to this variable, and then pass it to the users to render it. After passing the data, I need to convert that x-axis plot and y-axis plot. Uh, that example I gave to the power consumption. So the date can be plotted to the x-axis, and the actual value of the power consumption can be mapped to the y-axis. So that way, and also this is uh, unique for every CSV file. For example, in a CSV file with 30 rows, the x-axis may be different, and the y-axis plot will also be different. For example, the x-axis plot may be the 0th column, and the y-axis part you want to choose like the 10th, 11th, and 13th column. So it will vary from file to file. So you have to make sure of that also. Similarly for the pie chart, and then after that, I have rendered the charts in the like app. Now I have to convert it to KML also, so that the Liquid Galaxy can understand it. And all this data also, like if I have a data in KML format, and there are many data already available in the KML format. For example, sea level rising, the population graph, the water consumption graph. In the New York City, I need like there are markers of the area. Like you can also check the demo of my app in the video. There you will see that if I click on that KML, it will show the areas that are like it will show the properties of the KML, like where the sea level is rising, all with all the different colors and all those things. All this data were available, and I had to make a few. So I have to render the KML file also in the Liquid Galaxy. So coming to the first important part of the app, that is feature tool. When you open the app for the first time, I guess many of you already run my code, and if you haven't, you also need to do this thing. There will be many people, like when you launch an app for the first time, you don't know what to do, right? Any app, like any game or any app you get in the Play Store, you don't have the idea from the beginning that, oh, to do this thing I have to go there. No, you don't have the idea. So it should be in a way that you give the user the idea. It's your duty to let the user know where is this thing happening from. Like if I want to go check the weather data of my city, where can I go to check the data? So you should let the user know about it. And there will be many people who have a hard time in controlling these apps. There are many elderly people, and there are many other disabled people that they may have a hard time finding the things of the app. And our app should be like that. It's accessible to everyone, not just the younger generation of this society that already have much experience with this app and all these latest features. No, it should be for everyone. And feature tool is very much important for this thing. So it's a package that I have used called feature tool. You can get it on the PubDev. So this is a simple demonstration of how I did it. Wrap your widget into that feature tool widget. Give it an index. For example, it will run. It will first go to the weather, and then it will show this like what the middle thing is doing, what this Google Map is doing. It's like a like index of a list of your demo. So zeroth index means it will be the first thing to show when you open this tab. And controller. You also need a controller to monitor the things that have already been shown, whose demo have already been shown. To navigate to this next skip, you need this controller. Introduce, like this is the uh, thing that will pop up like dashboard categories and all those things. This text. So you need that text. Introduce config. It will be on the right. See, the weather is on the left part of the app, and this dashboard categories is popping on the right of it. So this alignment we need it, and the actual widget, that is the my actual tab weather info health. This is the actual tab that I want to show it to the user. So this is how you do a feature tour, and all the more informations are available on the official side of the PubDev. So you can go and check it out. It will be much helpful for your Flutter development journey. Coming to the first data part, that is weather data. So the data I have collected can be summarized into two parts. Okay, three parts. First is the weather data that consists of the 5% of the data. 90% of the data is the city data, and another rest of the 5% will be the about city data. So the weather data, I had to use an API for the data. This is basically weather API from Rapid API. You can check it out. And there are no free, completely free API for weather of a city. And as I said, it will be very much hassle to collect the weather data for from the site of the city. It won't be a real time weather data, and it won't be a future like I won't be able to collect the data that is available, like the future weather data prediction that would be available with the CSV. So, and that was not available in any of the site. Like it, all those data source get updated like in 2 or 3 months. So that won't be real time. So I needed to use an API, and it was a freemium API, but its daily limit was like around 33,000 uh, use per day. So, and it was a lot, and one call to the API costed only one quota. And I optimized my app in such a way that it will like it will cost only one quota per city data. So it's not like when you go to the city data each time, it will consume the quota. It will cost only one quota. So it is optimized, and we don't run out of that free quota limit. And we got the data as HTTP response format in the JSON format. As I said, I need to parse the data. So to parse the data, there is an website called quicktype.io. There are like lots of ways to parse the data. Uh, there is a visual code extension, Dart mod called Dart models. You can check it out in the VS Code. And if we write that model, let me show it to you. JSON to Dart model is there. Dart data class generator is there. Like if you search in the extension, you will get many like extension for the VS Code that will make you it makes easier to like generate the class. See like this. There are demos also. Similarly for the Android Studio Code, there are many plugins. If I close it now, it will go. And suppose I want to make a new file, I can click on the right new and see listen to that. It will be also a plugin available in the Android Studio. You can check it out, or you can like go to this website, paste the JSON example JSON data you'll be receiving, and it will automatically check like parse the data for you. So don't go parsing like if you have 100 parameters, don't go like parsing like all those 100 variables and all those nested classes. No, there is a simple way to parse the data. Don't waste your time there. It's just a 5 minute task to parse the data. So here I called the API using HTTP, and after that I am just parsing the data. So this is like an example model of forecast weather, location, current, and all this are nested class to get it. And don't worry, that website and all those plugins are there ready to generate that data models for you. So don't waste much time parsing the data. Now coming to the actual part, that is city data part. So this is just a simple like a single website from where I collected the New York City data. And similar to this new NYC open data, there are sites for each individual cities where you get the data, like access to that open data that they are uploading with time. So just I just went to that website, like got the download link of that data set. Why? Like I could already download that data and store it locally and interpret it. So the issue was that when I finished my project, total data size was around like 600 MB, like it was half a GB. So if I compiled it with the APK, you can imagine the size of that APK that user has to download for it for the first time. Like the user had to download like 600 MB for like just to start the app. No, it's not optimized. So and if I download the static data, like if I download the data and you bundle with the APK, it will be a static data. Like it won't update as the years goes on. So and if I generate the downloading of the data set, even after 5 years, when I download the data set, it will make sure that the latest data set is pulled. So I had to do this. And after downloading, as I said, like it's a different kind of parsing method used apart from the data models for the weather API, because this was not an API. This was in a format of CSV, KML, XML, and all this format. So I had to parse that CSV data. So I can access that column one, column two very easily, and all the data types also. It may have string, it may have integer, double. So I had to make sure that any column will be simplified when when I'm going to plot the data. I can just simply call that data in third bracket 0 to map in the x-axis. I don't have to like parse the data. So make sure that the data you are receiving, it's parsed well, so it's easier for the later part of your code. You can easily access the data later. And after that, I parsed the data, I got the data and everything. But I had to make the actual chart that I had to show. So coming to this much later. Similarly, for the KML file, find the download link so that it downloads the latest KML data and send the data to the Liquid Galaxy to show to render that KML. So this is how I generalize the city data. A few part would be static because I knew that I had to use the health data of the city Austin. I would show the uh, environment data of New York. All those things I chose out of many data available. So this is how I generalize like city name and all those available tabs. These are custom codes. You can check out the code on GitHub. That how I generalized all this into a single class of thing. So I made sure that if I wrote some 10 to 50 lines here, it will automatically generate a new tab for me. Like make sure that your app is like generalized, not that you have to like like repeat hundred lines of code, 1,000 lines of code for a single thing. Like I had to make sure of that and generalize it in a single way. So if I generate a tab button model, it will automatically generate a weather tab in the leftmost panel of my app. So I had to make sure of that. Uh, this is a like New York City environment, an independent class where I'm collecting the data and showing load CSV data is like loading all that CSV data, and after that build function and all those things I will be coming later. Uh, the actual chart part, that is the most important part of the app, FL chart. Before that, yeah, there are two packages I have used. One is FL chart and Syncfusion Flutter charts. I had to use two separate packages because I like needed it. Like FL chart didn't have something and Sync Fusion didn't have something as well. So I had to combine the features of both the packages, and it's not like that they are enough. I had to customize the package. Like I didn't use the package like readily. I had to customize. I got the code of the package. I went to the GitHub, got the code. I customized the code in my own way so that it's more generalized and more adapted to the way I will write. So for to generalize this pie chart, if I just give it some five values, 5 or 6 values, it will automatically like give me this widget. So I had to make sure that I had modified the package in such a way that it adapts to me. Then is the camel part where I rendered the camel. So this is the Google map. I'll also be commenting later how I made that Google map part. So if I tap on this button like sea level rising, it will render the camel, not like not in the map in the app, but it will show that camel in the liquid galaxy. So how did I do it? So it's just a on it there will be just a detector. It's a kind of button thing, and as you can see, like a single camel file is taking 100 MB. So and there are like 50s and hundreds of camel file available. So can you imagine the size of the code? It will come in. It will come initially if I bundled all this data. So again, I had to generate a download link for this camel. I had to download that camel in the runtime while I'm using the app, like download it and store in the appropriate directory of my app. After downloading it, I had to upload that camel file to the Liquid Galaxy. After uploading it, run that camel as well as load a balloon showing the details of that camel. And this is just a snack bar showing that our camel upload was a success. Uh, all these individual functions like download camel, run camel, you can just go to my GitHub and check out the code. It's just like I am showing it how I did it overall. The code part is more like you can already see it. It's just the code flow I have to do it. And before all this running this camel, I had to make sure that I clean the camel that was previously shown. If I click on sea level rising, after that I click on sandy inundation zone, I have to make sure that when I click on it, it first clears the previous camel data that it was showing, then render our new camel data. So it's also important. Sometimes it may happen that you run a camel file and when you run another new camel file, it may not render that properly. So make sure that you clean the camel every time you change the camel file so that it runs normally, like without any bug. Coming to the camel connection part, so this was my app when I started for the first time. Uh, it will reset the location or the zoom angle to default value, and it will reset everything like all this left panel, all the balloons. So suppose you close the app while rendering a KML. When you open the app again, there will be a few like you had to go to the settings manually to like clean the KML, to clean the left logo of the panel, like to reset the location. It what I did is to do that automatically for the user. So when the user launches the app for the like second or third time, it will make sure that all the previous things that you have done with the Liquid Galaxy, all the things that you integrated with the Liquid Galaxy, it will all be cleared, and you get a fresh and bug free start. So this is how I connected my app with Liquid Galaxy. So connection part was like easy, like you just make a client part and you just connect it. But there are many like errors with the normal approach. Suppose if I left my code up to here, line number 46, uh, it may not collect. properly, because after uh, some time, like after the connection was done, uh, there are, as I said, 10% to 15% of probability that SFTP connection won't open. Like the tools and other commands were working properly, but the file upload part was not working. So I have to make sure that everything is working properly when I connect. So here I open an empty connection.txt file in the master slave, and if it throws an error up to 5 times, I'll try to reconnect it again with recursion method, so that when our app connects, it connects properly, so that I don't have to face the problem later on. And disconnect is also simple. It's just a one line of code that close that SSH client. Uh, Also, you may notice that I am writing ref.read.ssh client. It's because I have used a state manager called riverpod, and I am storing this instance of the client socket connection that I am taking. Like this client instance, I am storing it in a state manager so that I can use it from anywhere. It's not like bounded to the single function or the single file. So make sure that your code is reusable, your variable is reusable, so that that client, you can access it from anywhere with that single instance of the object, like object SSH client you are creating. Make sure that it's available through your code so that you can call it from anywhere. You don't have to like create a new client to run your code. These are few like common functions that you will be using. Clean slaves, like clean all the like KML slaves available. These are like command line tools, and simply to execute the bash commands, take the client instance, and there will be two functions: execute or run. You can use any. I found run is slightly better than execute because it's the updated version of the execute in Dart SSH2. So these are the few commands. Like I'm just emptying everything. Like this KML, I am leaving it blank. This balloon part, I am replacing it with a blank balloon. This KML part, like I am like making it blank again. Also, for the clean balloon part, if you just echo empty string into the balloon, the next time you try to show another balloon, it won't work. Like it will, the liquid galaxy will automatically catch the error. Like, you can not run an empty string in the balloon part, because it will know that it's an empty string. So don't enter the new balloon. So basically, the new, like you are emptying the balloon, it won't work. It will stuck with the previous balloon you are showing. Liquid Galaxy will know that like this syntax is wrong. I won't re-render the new value. I will stick to the previous balloon. So make sure that you have a blank balloon uh, code that you can send to the rightmost slave of your Liquid Galaxy, and then only it will be able to refresh that balloon properly. It's for the balloon part. Coming to the integrated liquid Google Map in the app. So basically breaking it down, this is like without this play orbit button, this is the default widget of the Google Map that you can get it as a package from PubDev, and this play orbit is just a on top of it, it's just a stack, and this curve is made using clip array. So in this Google Map, there are few functions I am calling each time the camera is moving and camera is idle. So when the camera is idle, also one more important thing, that I had to sync this map with the actual liquid galaxy. So whenever I move this map, I had to make sure that liquid galaxy will also move. So you don't like, your app is the actual controller of the liquid galaxy. So most of the time in the actual liquid galaxy, uh, you may have a space navigator, but your app should be able to do all those things that a space navigator can do. So make sure that at your through your app you can control every properties of your Liquid Galaxy. So this is one of the properties of the to control the Liquid Galaxy, that is to synchronize your integrated Google Map with the Liquid Galaxy. So on camera idle, I had to make sure that if I were orbiting somewhere, like if I had a tour, if I had an orbit, I had to make sure the orbit would be stopped and it will be synced to the position I move my camera. Camera idle will be called when I have stopped moving my map, and on camera move, set the new map position to the position of the present like present value of the Google map. And after that, uh, when the new position is set, after moving the camera on camera idle, I am sending a dash command to the Liquid Galaxy to fly to that new position. New position I have set here. The new position I have set here, I am sending a command to the Liquid Galaxy to go to that new location when we have stopped moving our integrated Google map. Now coming to this tour part, uh, I have two kinds of tour. One kind of tour was to go through all the cities. Like if I have 5 to 10 cities, it will first go to the Newark, then go to the Charlotte, then go to another city with a gap between them and with a rotation between them also, like with the orbit as well as a tour between them. So the first part that I am doing, that is build tour of city about. When I'm in Newark, it's in the about page. The right panel will also change dynamically. Play tour across the city. So I have some pre-arranged location of the city. For example, the Statue of Liberty, like Statue of Liberty, and all those major locations of the New York I had already pre-built in the app. I can run this button, play tour across the city, and this KML will take me to that. So make sure that you check out this KML and how it is written. Basically, I am running a for loop to generate fly to command to each location available, and then like applying this uh, all the for loop generated and all the string that I have generated using for loop with each duration of 5. Like it will go to a place A for 5 seconds, it will stop, then it will go to place B for 5 seconds, and it will stop. Make sure to change the fly to mode as well. And all these like parameters you can check in the official KML documentation. All these parameters you can.
One second, guys. I have a problem with the streaming. One second. Could you please talk, Prayag?
Okay,
Yeah.
so now I'm
Okay.
audible.
One second. One second. I'm just. I have a problem with my sound system. You can go again. Continue at the same place.
Uh,
It was only 3 seconds.
Okay, okay. So now I'm audible.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Okay. So basically, I'm doing a 5 seconds, like 1 minute. So I talked about how to build a tour across the city. Like inside the city, I have like different locations pre-built with the app. I know where this like coordinates are, and I want to make a tour from like five major locations of the place. So in the New York, like five major locations, I want to make a tour. So I generated a for loop for each available tours locations. I will wait for 5 seconds in each location and bounce to that location B from A. And all these properties like flight mode, durations, all these are available in the Camel official Camel documentation. You can check it out, and you can like experiment with this value like bounce, snap, and all. There are various properties of this flight mode, and you can always like feel free to experiment with the things like how each change in the properties behaving in a different way in my app. And after generating this string look at, I am just pasting it under this playlist orbit, and all these also tags are available in the official KMS site. Check it out for like your better understanding, and you must check it out because this proper like understanding the KML part is very much important. Don't just like blindly copy paste this whole line of code from someone else's code. It's okay to do these things because after all this is open source, but make sure that you contribute something. What was your contribution to the code? That will be your understanding, your and your upgradation of the code. I may have made some mistakes, I may have left a few bugs, but it will be that duty of the next open source contributor to make sure that bug is fixed and the code is much better. So don't just copy paste any KML format from others. Understand it first, how the things are actually working. Then you can just take a like reference from somewhere else. I have discussed tour, and now coming to the orbit part. Tour was basically moving from place A to B to C and D and so on. What about making an orbit around a single location? I want to take a 360 view of that location that I am currently at. So that that's where the different properties of fly2 comes in. So fly2 has many properties like tilt, zoom, latitude, longitude, and the bearing. So what will make sure that that angle is rotating? You can check out a very good diagram from the official camera site where it is described very clearly how the different properties of this flight to command works. So from 0 degree to 360 degree, I am changing the bearing properties of the flight to with a like gap of 100,000 milliseconds, that is 1 second. And each time I am updating it with 10 more degrees. So it will rotate at a duration like at a gap of 1 degree from going to 1 second from going to 0 degree to 10 degree. In that way, I can get a whole 360 like circular orbit of the location I am in with a tilt of 360 sorry 60 degree, so you can get a proper 3D view of that location in the liquid galaxy. After that, like reset the location I was currently in with tilt and bearing 0, so it's resetting. The camera was slightly tilted during the orbit phase. Make sure that it will be reset after your orbit is finished. This is the orbit balloon part where like I am generating like after the orbit, uh, during the orbit, I'll also show a balloon showing the data of the city part. Like I am in the New York, I am making a tour or an orbit. So that data of the New York will also be shown on the right hand side of the liquid galaxy rig. So this is just a KML file showing it with balloon. Like this is the property that you have to be to make a balloon place mark. You have to make a place mark to uh, let the liquid galaxy know about which location you are describing it in the balloon, the current like camera, the current camera location and the properties and all the different properties. Like these are the images I have already uploaded in the GitHub, and I am taking that hidden like network image and showing it to the liquid galaxy in the balloon. Now comes to the main part of the project. The camel part and the balloon part was like it consisted of the 80% of the code. That 20% I had to left to do is still to visualize this graph. All the graphs that I am seeing on the screen should also be shown in the liquid galaxy as well, because like 70% of the time I am using my app, all these charts are visible to me, and only the 30% I may render a KML file, I may choose an orbit, but I have like I have to make sure that 100% of the time I am working with the app, it should be integrated to the liquid galaxy, and whatever I am doing in the app, it should be visible to the liquid galaxy as well. So few problems that I have to face while like mirroring the screen. The charts I have made using chart code, right? In the Flutter, I have like given the parameters. I have used the customized package. I have passed the values and all those things, and the widgets are rendered by a package, like with my customized package. So, how can I convert that Flutter code to HTML, like into the KML format? That was a very much like confused thing that I was like, how like I made the Flutter code like very well. The chart is looking very good, but can I do the same for the KML part? The answer was no. Like you cannot like simply make a Flutter code to a KML part. So, but I still had to do. Had to show those charts in the Liquid Galaxy. So what I did, I captured the widget. I like made the widget into PNG file, uploaded to the master machine, and from the master machine I uploaded to the slave. Why this architecture from app to master and then master to slave? Because the master machine is the only rig of the Liquid Galaxy we have access to through the app. And but from the master machine, we cannot access. Like suppose I have three machines, one, two, and three. Right most will be three. The master, like a slave machine three, doesn't have the access to the master machine, but the master machine has the control to all the Liquid Galaxy. So basically, our app has control to the master machine. Master machine has control to all the other slaves. So first I uploaded it to the master machine after rendering our widget in the format of PNG, and from the master machine I sent it to the slave 3 or 5 if you have a 5 machine setup to render that PNG file and show it in the balloon. So for capturing the widget and transforming it to PNG, I use this package called screenshot to screenshot. You can check it on the pub dev. If you want to like mirror your whole or some particular widgets to the Liquid Galaxy as well. Like this was very useful for me. So how did I do it? When like this load dashboard balloon is called, when I tap into the weather data, like any environment data, health data, sorry, of a city, it will call that load dashboard balloon function. And inside the function, I have a screenshot controller that I am passing while calling the function. It will capture that list of widget uh, this chart panel, this I call the left panel, and the rightmost panel is where I have the Google Map. So it will capture all these widgets, turn it to a PNG, and now I have to decode. Like I got the image, now I need to decode the image into bytes so that I can send the bytes to like master machine. So after I upload it to the master machine, I had to upload it to the slave tree from the master. So I did that. Image file upload slave. After that, I went to that particular location, like initial map position. Then I showed all the tab names and all those things and rendered that KML in the slave. So I'm also showing the code. The first part is like preparing the image upload. So like by default, you cannot add, like you cannot upload or modify any file from in slave tree from master machine because it is the permissions are blocked. So you need to make sure that all the use CMOD 777. So you have the access to RWX for every users available on that slave machine. So read, write, execute, access. You first need to take it. Then this is the SSH pass that I need to also pass through while running the command. And for master machine and the slave tree, for both I had to do it. So line number 413, I had first running it for the master machine. So I have access to read, write, and execute uh, command of the master machine through the app. Then I am making sure the master has the same access of the slave. This is how I am preparing the image upload. It will be run only once when I try to upload the image. Like don't, it doesn't need to run automatically. Like every time I try to upload the image. Once done CMOD, it will persist. After preparing our machine, I have to actually upload the file to master. So this is how I did it. By default, the Dart SSH2 doesn't have a uh, doesn't have a trigger that will end it, that will end the function while upload the file. Like your file upload is finished, the code will get stuck there. Uh, but like basically the Dart SSH2 won't have that trigger that your file progress has it. It has the trigger, but it won't. It will keep on awaiting forever. Like when you open this like file.write, that asynchronous process will be kept awaited forever. So you need some kind of trigger to let the app know that the file structure, like the file upload has been finished, and now release this await log. So this is a custom function which I made. Uh, that is based on uploading. So by default, uploading will be set to true. That is, it is still uploading, and I am tracking the progress by dividing with the actual file size, and it's just like the file size will be in bytes. So I am tracking how many bytes of data I have loaded to the master and how many bytes of file size the file actually has. So if file size is like equals to progress, that means 100% progression. I am loading, like setting that variable to false. Also based on this uh, progress, I am also changing a state manager variable like loading percentage provider. So in my app, I also had a percentage indicator where I'm showing how much the progression has been done through a line indicator. I am awaiting till the file upload is finished. When the file upload is finished, I am releasing the lock and then like loading provider to null again because the file load hasn't finished, resetting that loading to 0. Now we have uploaded it from the app to master. We still need to upload it from master to slave so that the slave tree has access to all the those image files so that it can access, like it can show those each tab I am checking if it is whether about. There was a particular case for like whether and about because I need to I needed the tab name. For example, it is whether tab is about tab and other tab name I already have for the URL from it's just like basic. It was a code flow that I have got the data from, and after that I am running this command. Okay, so this command is not purely visible. I am opening a SFTP protocol from master to slave where I am putting that file from the master. I am copying that file from master to the slave and saving it to the particular directory I wanted with the file name that I needed. So after I have uploaded the file, I needed to access that file. So at line number 116, you can see that image source file. This is where the slave tree will get the access to the local file because I like using a cloud service is much of a hassle and you have to maintain that cloud file. There are two ways: generate the PNG image, upload it to a cloud, and from the like from the online fetch that image, like just how I did with like images uploaded to the GitHub. But it was a real time image. I cannot like upload the image real time in somewhere, and that will be a cloud based service, right? And I cannot do like for 1,000 times re-rendering the widget. It will generate like thousands of different images. So I had like I had to pass down the image right to the slave tree and make it a local file so that the slave tree has access to that file and use that file instead of any like network all the other properties. That way it will show this widget. This is a single image. The whole this part like the middle section, the left section of our data is just a single image and it is rendering that image here. Another feature of my app was the custom visualizer. So more like there are many data which I have chosen. Like I have particularly chosen the data. So this data will be visible, like population data will be visible, water consumption data will be visible. But what if the user wants to visualize his own data? He has a download link of a particular data set and he needs to visualize that particular data only, which is not in my app. So he can do it. He can just paste the download link of the data set. He can select a choice between line chart and pie chart, and he can choose between the x-axis plot like the date part and all those things. He can choose this, and for the y-axis plot, can have multiple plots to the y-axis. So power consumption, like power in what, daytime consumption, nighttime consumption, all the different plots we can add and remove individually with like color modification also. So this covers like most of the features of my app. There are many other small features which like you can check out in the uh, video demo. And if you have any doubt, you can always like message in the our community, and I'll be more than happy to like solve it for you. If you have any doubts like how this feature is working, how this code base is working, like I don't understand some code, you're always feel free to ask like how this code is working. I'll be more than happy to explain. So coming to the more generalized part of our app, that is the state manager. So you need a state manager to make sure that you have a clean architecture. If you don't have state manager, your single file will contain like 3,000 thousands of code because you don't have access to all those uh, app states, all those variable app states that you are making in a file. The file will have access to the AP mirror state in a single class, but the app state you need to maintain it with the help of a state manager. So I have chosen river pod as state manager because there are many state managers available like provider, river pod, gatex, block. Block is also popular. You can use block as well. Block and provider. Uh, gatex is more like a context-less state manager, and all the rest of the state manager is based on context. So there is a controversy between this context-less and context-full state manager thing. I would suggest like don't go for gatex because gatex may be easier to use, but your app won't be scalable, and it also has some performance issues and other issues as well. So make sure you go with riverpod, provider, or block. Riverpod is basically provider 2.0. So many things that provider couldn't do can be done by riverpod. So that's why I choose riverpod. These are the few like syntax of the riverpod. Basically, you declare a state provider and the default you initialize with a default variable. You can make a like extend a class out of the state provider, and you can do lots of stuff. This is just a simple example I am giving to how to use the state manager. Just declare a state provider variable. Suppose this is a theme, so by default the theme will be set to dark. And as I said about the theme thing, so in the theme I have declared an abstract class with theme dark and theme light, implementing the theme. Why abstract class? Because later if I want to change the theme, I can just call theme light and theme dark and assign it to like, because all this comes under a single variable type, that is theme. Because while I am declaring this state provider themes provider, I have to assign a type. So if I by default assign a type themes dark, later I cannot change it to the theme light. So to make it a single data type, I first declared it to themes, then implemented that abstract class in different class like this dark and red. I am getting that overriding that variable with the value I need for the like dark theme and light theme. How I am accessing it? By watching that provider and changes to that variable. So any change in that provider will notify our listener that this variable has changed. So re-render the widgets that are depending on this theme. So if I change the theme from light mode to dark mode, this widget, uh, this text button will change because it's depending on this theme. Like themes dot normal color. I am like the border side of this text button is depending on it. So this will re-render the widget because our themes are changed in real time because it is watching that change of the state. Uh, to change the state, just pass like assign any variable to that uh, state provider. Call that reference. Reference is like uh, is similar to the build context of a widget, but it's slightly different. That tags the like the reference of that those state providers. So it's just a river pod thing. These are the syntax. You can check on the official update page of the river pod. This is not much hard. Like to get a contextful state uh, consumer stateful widget or consumer widget. That's like consumer state is like modified stateless widget, and consumer stateful widget is like the modified stateful widget with the reference of that state provider. So just pass the reference, read it, make a notify to the like pass a notify to the value provider that its value has changed. Re-render all the widgets that are watching it, and with the assigned new value. Waves are like shared preferences I have used to store all the settings value, all the like local variables I have used to store it so that the user doesn't have to like change it again and again. If I changed my app to dark, like light mode from dark mode, when I relaunch the app, I have to make sure like the app is in light mode so that the user doesn't have to go to the settings and like toggle that button to light again. So this is a simple thing how you change the state of a provider and notify that all the listeners of that provider. So that was the end of the dissecting of smart city dashboard. I hope like I covered all the major features of the app and how the integration with the Liquid Galaxy works. So these are my personal suggestions for you that to use Android Studio instead of VS Code. Because as I said, Android Studio provides much more features than VS Code. I know that most of us are comfortable with VS Code. I was also comfortable with VS Code, not as much as in Android Studio, but believe me, it will help later in the rest of your life. If you once get familiar with the Android Studio, not only in GSoC, in the rest of your career, you will like think that using Android Studio was a right choice instead of VS Code. So make sure of that to start now only. Don't leave this for the future. That now let's just use VS Code and in the later stage of my life I'll use Android Studio. No, start from today only. Second thing, that before writing any code, you must have a clean architecture in your mind. Uh, like divide the providers into separate files. Uh, all the Dart models, all the API calling, the data collection part, UI, all these are in different files and organized as well. So you don't have to like search different folders at where you keep the settings page, where is the widget, where is that function calling to the Firebase. So make sure that your architecture is clean so that not only you, anyone reading your code can understand it. Even you will forget your own code base after 6 months. After 6 months, you won't remember where you put that function. So it's for yourself as well. So when you come back to your code after 6 months or after 1 year, at least you can understand your code base and how you did it during that time. So clean architecture and pre-planned routine is much more like it's very much important because if you start dirty code from the first, your code will remain dirty like in the future. And it's much more hard to refactor your whole code later than in the first time, like because after like 2 or 3 months your one variable will be like the code flow will be so much nested that you will forget that it will be much of a hassle to like change one variable name and to refactor of like function into a different file. It will much more a hassle after 2 months than starting with in the beginning. So make sure that you have a good base. And as I said, don't use GateX as a state manager because GateX may be easier to grasp and beginner friendly, but move it to something advanced like Riverpod provider or block architecture. Block architecture is very popular. Uh, so make sure that you use something that will help in your later life. So you may struggle 2 or 3 days with a new architecture that is block or provider, but make sure that use a good thing instead of a bad thing at the beginning. So you have a easier time later. And the last thing is that as I'm repeating it that user experience and user interface is very much important because that's the thing visible to the user, not the underlying code. So make sure that that is very much smooth to the user as well. So thank you. That was it.
Thank you very much, Prayag. Sorry for the little interruption. It was a fault here, but it was only three
Yeah.
seconds. And thank you, Biget, because when I saw this dissecting of the you and mentor just do about your applications,
Yeah.
I remember that you use a scalpel, that tool that the they use to open the bodies, and then your scalpel has been working for 19 minutes. So your session has been 1.5 hours. Okay,
Yeah.
very good dissection. Amit says that yes, he uses Visual Studio Code, but it's his favorite. But no, I will use
Yeah,
Android
use Android Studio Code.
Studio. Which is best to follow TD or okay?
Yeah,
So
starting with a good habit is much more important. Like later changing the habit.
let's gonna wait a
Yeah.
few seconds for the questions of the people that are now on the screen, and oh, there is something that's not correct for today. So I didn't. Well, we wait for some questions of our colleagues. I didn't know about that trick you did with the screen recorder.
Android,
With the screen recorder, that stuff you explained. It was curious.
yeah.
That's nice. Ah, yes.
You
I
stop
mean,
the sharing, right?
stop sharing, just please.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So Amit is Amit Kumar is asking which is the best to follow, TDD or MBBM.
Basically, you can follow like TDD or MVM both, but MVM is more preferred because it's more used than TDD. But it's not like you have to think always like what is TDD, what is MVVM. Just make sure that all the like business logic that you are making is separate from the UI. So the widgets and all those things you are making, it should be clean from all the logic on the button and all the different things, like all these functions. It is separated from that there. So don't go much into the terms like what is TDD, what is MVVM. Just follow. You can follow your own approach. You can just take a look of what is MVVM and TDD, and you can follow your own approach. That seems best to you. But just make sure that it is clean.
Okay, is it clear, Amit? Let's wait for a few more seconds. I'm changing the configuration of the screen. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Let's wait if there's any other question. In the meantime, I am just because I don't know why my OBS did some strange. It changes my presentation today, but I think everything went well. And this, any other question you want to say besides this? I mean, for the, I don't know. It's only a matter of talking for 1 minute. Manas says thank you for the session, for the long session, 90-minute session. Remember, guys, that this is, I would say, the last till a week. We will come back on April 2. And till April 2, we will not disturb anymore your Discord or your YouTube. You are free to continue with your colorful parties in India or enjoying whatever festivities you have in the place of the world where you live. In Spain, we have almost all the country is on holidays. We are Catholic here, most of the population, and they are all day long on the streets with many different goods and so on. And not too much. Any other question, guys? No, I think Amit, Manas, Soham, Vivek, Pablo, those were the guys that were attending. Other come in and come out. And also there will be Holi is already over. So I know it was only 1 day. Is that right, Prayag?
Yeah, Holi is like basically the festival of colors. So people used to like put colors in each other's.
It was yesterday.
Organic. Yeah.
Yeah. I will not show because those are personal, but mentor Vedant sent me some pictures of their friends and family throwing the
Yeah,
colors.
like you said only like I was like all yellow and blue and red.
Very nice. So, whatever, enjoy your time, study, work, improve your proposal. We are almost at the end. Remember, Google
Yeah,
platform closes on April 2. We are almost running out of time, and mentor interviews are going on. And remember, as I think was Mahinor question this morning, we still have till the end of almost till the end of April to make your interviews. And also remember that we have many presentations. All of them are in the liquidgalaxy.eu site, the upcoming ones, and on the Google Developers Platform for events. And also we will have these two different activities. One will be the project proposal defense day, and then the new context for KISS applications focused on Flutter and artificial intelligence. And April will pass so fast, because as much work you have, things to do, the times goes faster, and April is the month that everything has to be closed and done and everything. So in no time we will know who are the people selected for this year GSoC. So anyway, thank you all of you for collaborating. Thank you, Mentor Prayag, for staying here and make this scalpel dissection
yeah.
of your application. And see you in a week. Bye-bye.
Hi guys. Also make sure like if you have any question, like to just copy the card